LeBron James has had so many legendary seasons. His first MVP, a rising force in the league, the greatest comeback in NBA history, a one-man army dragging Cleveland to the finals, the NBA's leader in assists returning to the top. But there's one season that sits above the rest, a year where everything, the talent, the mindset, the experience, and the trophies all lined up. After years of falling short, the decision, the hate, the scrutiny, and the heartbreak of 2011, LeBron finally became a champion in 2012. But this win unlocked something in LeBron James, because when he silenced the doubt and proved that he could win it all, everything changed. Confidence became instinct and pressure became fuel. Psychologists call it the winner effect. I call it 2013 LeBron, because following that first championship, he became the most dominant and complete version of himself we had ever seen. He was still physically unstoppable, but now he was mentally unshakable. A man that was standing at 6'8" and weighing 270 pounds could move like this. He was playing his smartest, most efficient basketball, defending every possession, shooting better than he ever had, and delivering in the biggest of moments time and time again. This is the story of 2013 LeBron James, the most complete version of a once-in-a-generation player, the greatest season of his career. Opening night in Miami, 5 months removed from winning it all, the Miami Heat raised their championship banner and received their rings. The first for LeBron of what he hoped was many. It was a moment of celebration for the Heat, who on this opening night were hosting the team that gave them their biggest challenge along their championship run, the Boston Celtics. But the storylines didn't just end there, as Ray Allen suited up for his first game since joining the Miami Heat, member of the Celtics, just months ago. Kevin Garnett didn't acknowledge his former teammate, and Ray Allen was right on cue.
Kevin Garnett said he lost Ray Allen's phone number. He said does not plan on giving him a call. There were several Celtics upset as Allen fires over.
Through the consistent play of their stars, the defending champions were off to a strong start, a win to cap off their night of celebration. A couple games later, Wade was sidelined against Atlanta with a cold. LeBron took over the game on both ends.
Steal by LeBron. Showtime.
He delivered a complete all-around game, nearing a triple-double, and by the end of it, he had Atlanta's commentators speechless.
Why is he MVP?
That's exactly why he's MVP.
That outside jump shot for LeBron was now the real deal early into this season. The fadeaways from the post, the catch and shoot threes, the mid-range jumpers off the dribble, and the step back jumpers, it was all on display this night against Houston. He had evolved into an even more deadly scorer and player. LeBron was firing on all cylinders, playing like he was far and away the world's best player just weeks into the season. But as always in sports, things can shift quickly, and if you can read the momentum, that's where the real value is. Because the sponsor of today's video is DraftKings Sportsbook. The NBA regular season is officially in the books, and now we're headed into the most intense stretch of the year. It's the postseason, starting with the play-in. Every possession matters. Every run could be the difference between a championship push or an early exit. And with DraftKings Sportsbook, you don't just have to watch the chaos unfold, you can be a part of it. From same-game parlays to odds boost and live betting, DraftKings has everything you need to stay locked in from tip-off to the final buzzer. If you're new to DraftKings, here's something special. New customers can bet just $5 and instantly receive $200 in bonus bets. All you gotta do is download the app and use my code WillSoTrill when signing up. And if sports betting isn't yet available in your state, you can still join in on the fun with DraftKings Pick 6 for a shot at some cash prizes. But if you think you know who's heating up at the right time, here's your moment. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use my promo code WillSoTrill when you sign up. That's code WillSoTrill only at DraftKings Sportsbook. While LeBron was playing at such a high level, the Miami Heat as a team were looking a lot less threatening, holding a 12-5 record with 2 of those losses being 20-point blowouts handed to them by the Knicks. Another one of those losses came against the worst team in the league. LeBron would point out that the team's defense was the culprit, so ahead of their next game against New Orleans, that side of the ball would be emphasized. LeBron leading by example, turning defense into fast offense on the other end, a brand of basketball that was the Miami way.
Chalmers with the steal.
The Heat were back to blowing teams out, and the defense will be even better against Atlanta, creating even more opportunities in transition for LeBron throwdowns. That, of course, wasn't the only way that the King was throwing it down. But the transition opportunities only made his job easier as the greatest transition player we had ever seen touch the floor. head at the rim, elbow above the rim. It's truly ridiculous what this man was capable of. A highly efficient night for LeBron. Against Minnesota, the King showed his athletic and defensive prowess even more by blocking 4 shots, one of those being a chase down where he got up so much higher than everyone else that he blocked the shot with the pad of his shooting sleeve. But this was outshined by his brilliance on offense, continuing to make the right decisions in a game where he recorded 11 assists and no turnovers, more all-around dominance by LeBron James. By Christmas, the Miami Heat had gotten hotter and they were back to their championship form. On Christmas Day, their opponent was the same team that they had just took down to become champions, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder were off to the best start in the NBA, showing that their 2012 finals appearance was no fluke. They were here to stay, led by the NBA's second best player, Kevin Durant. Meanwhile, the best player in the world was getting things started in his usual style.
Chalmers for the dunk. Didn't want the layup, didn't get the assist, but LeBron's got all that.
LeBron had a hot start in this one, but Durant began to get him back on the other side. A legendary duel between these two, each player going back and forth doing everything they can to get the win. James with 29, Durant with 33. But James's Heat would come out victorious in the finals rematch here on Christmas Day. These two will be providing must-see matchups for years to come. And for this season to come, we get to witness LeBron James putting on a show of dunks, viciously attacking the rim like he did this night against Charlotte.
Kemba back. James. That was easy.
LeBron was stuffing the rim and the stat sheet on this night. Miami heating up now 20-6 on the year. And LeBron scoring through the weeks had brought him 18 points away from history. That's all he needed to reach 20,000 points to become the youngest player to ever reach that number. Considering he had only scored under 21 times this season, this was destined to be the night against Golden State. LeBron was on a mission to make history, scoring 13 points in the first quarter alone. He was within striking distance, and in the second quarter, it happened.
James hit it. The youngest in NBA history with 20,000 career points.
It was just his 10th year in the league, and LeBron already had racked up 20,000 points. This guy just might have a chance at 40,000 one day. But one of the players far ahead of LeBron in all-time scoring was up next. This matchup between LeBron and Kobe on ESPN was always must-see TV, a marquee matchup at Staples Center. LeBron started Miami's attack through the air.
It's going to be a layup or a dunk here. Well, it is a dunk off the long pass picked off by Fosh. Here comes LeBron.
Are you kidding me?
That never gets old, does it?
Miami was off to an electrifying start in this game, and they never let off the gas. LeBron James completely owned this matchup. He was too far ahead of any other player in this league, and he knew that. But still, Miami was losing far too many games for a team that had by far the best player in the world. They were 29-14 on the season and had already dropped 6 games against key Eastern Conference opponents. A few of those games they were blown out in. Other teams across the league like the Thunder, Clippers, and Spurs looked far more imposing than the Miami Heat. They had to lock in, and LeBron was about to reach an unprecedented level of basketball.
And the Heat turn over the Raptors. The lob for LeBron.
A typical Miami Heat fast break for LeBron would be the beginning of history. LeBron was about to tear this league apart.
Look out! LeBron!
He got anything he wanted against this Raptors defense, an absurd level of scoring efficiency that was about to become the norm. Because the next night, LeBron was a shot away from perfection. He terrorized Charlotte's interior defense. Nothing could be done to stop him. It was a night of paint domination for the King. Then against Houston, he obliterated them. LeBron had become a nightmare for the league. A third consecutive game scoring at least 30 points on 60% from the field or higher. Taking on the Clippers, this stretch continued as if he couldn't miss a shot. Defenders had no clue how to stop this absolute machine. He scored 30 yet again, and he only needed 11 shots to do it. With the Lakers in town, there was more unparalleled transition dominance by LeBron, and some shots falling that just simply made his opponents want to give up. The Heat has suddenly won 5 in a row with LeBron at the forefront. The Portland Trailblazers looked to put a quick end to this winning streak, but a LeBron James takeover was simply inevitable. Whenever Miami was in danger, he took it upon himself to save the day on both ends. He wasn't going to allow Miami to lose this game.
Back to LeBron! Oh my!
With that slam, history was made. A record was broken. 6 consecutive games scoring 30 or more points, shooting at least 60% from the field. A stretch putting up an otherworldly 72% shooting from the field and 56% from 3. This wasn't supposed to be humanly possible, but maybe 2013 LeBron wasn't human. He wasn't just the unstoppable force driving to the basket anymore. His game had transcended to a new height. This was him perfecting the sport. The off-dribble mid-range jumper, the catch-and-shoot threes, the step back. Everyone said he would be unguardable if he added this to his game. Now the entire league was terrified because the hypothetical had come true. He became the ultimate offensive engine, 24-11 on the Hawks, 26-7 on the Bulls, 28-8 on the Cavs, and 40-16 on the Kings. These performances coming with a level of efficiency that we couldn't even imagine. The Heat played 13 games in the month of February. They won 12 of them. Much of the success attributed to LeBron James, who had what Sports Illustrated described as a month for the ages. With him averaging 30 points per game on unfathomable shooting splits plus 8 assists per game, that's one of many ways to describe it. LeBron shot 80% at the basket. Being an unstoppable force at the rim was nothing new to him, but 60% on long twos and 43% on threes was something we never thought possible for LeBron. But he was doing it now, and the rest of the league could only watch in fear. The season kept going and the Miami Heat kept winning. With each challenger that arose, another inevitably fell. The Miami Heat have won a staggering 22 games in a row, now tied with the 2008 Rockets for the second longest winning streak in the history of the league. But as they look to break within 10 games of the longest winning streak in league history, Miami faced their toughest challenge yet. The Heat hadn't won a regular season game at TD Garden since April of 2007, nearly 6 years ago. Now their historic streak of wins was on the line in that same venue that had been so hostile. No matter how hostile that environment may be, there was no match for LeBron James. This vicious dunk on Jason Terry was personal. The Boston Celtics maintained an advantage in this game, but basket after basket, LeBron was keeping his team alive. It all came down to a final shot. 23 consecutive wins, the streak saved by LeBron in the clutch. This winning streak had become the talk of the league. It was everywhere. National coverage, talk shows, analysts debating whether they could catch the 1972 Lakers. No team had ever come this close, and the Heat could be on the verge of something special. But LeBron's former team was motivated to put an end to it. The Cleveland Cavaliers jumped out to a shocking 27-point lead early into the third quarter. The win streak was over, and it was LeBron's former team that stopped them short of history. But slowly, that lead began shrinking, cut down to less than 20 with 15 minutes left to go in the game. It just seemed that there wasn't enough time. They would need a ridiculous run just to make this game competitive again, let alone win it. Over the next couple of minutes, the Miami Heat would cut the lead down to just 10 points, and now they have belief.
Down 11, LeBron finger rolls it home. LeBron down the middle. Off to Allen for three. Kaboom! Free. Kaboom! Loose ball, LeBron makes it. LeBron pull up three. It's good. And Miami has tied the game at 77. Oh my. Yes, you have to have heart for a comeback like this. Oh my.
Over the last 10 minutes of action, the Miami Heat had erased a 27-point deficit, and they still had 10 more minutes to win this game. The Cleveland Cavaliers continued to fight, but having blown that large of a lead, they were demoralized. LeBron had marched into his old house and took it back over, completing a legendary comeback to extend the winning streak. Miami went on to obliterate their next 3 opponents. None of them ever had a chance, with LeBron putting up 28 a game on 70% shooting across this stretch. 6 more wins, and Miami would get even with history. But the Chicago Bulls at the United Center were next, and this team never made things easy. Chicago came out on fire. The Heat were on notice that this would be their ultimate challenge in keeping the win streak alive. The Bulls were just hitting everything and making life difficult for the Heat. Miami had to turn this one around, and to begin the third, they did just that.
James and Wade, 2-on-1, alley-up to James. Stolen by Chalmers. Back to James, throws it down again. Wade the rebound, out to Battier, and the Heat have their first lead of the night.
This was a serious contest, a true battle between 2 Eastern Conference playoff teams. But as the game went down to the wire, the team who made the decisive plays was the home team.
And that's it. The streak will end at 27.
Though the streak came to an end in Chicago, what it left behind was undeniable. The Miami Heat had separated themselves from the rest of the NBA. They only needed one more win to lock up the first seed in the East, and LeBron did that near single-handedly against New Orleans. It was a night where he couldn't miss from 3, hitting all of his attempts in the first quarter, then carrying that momentum into the second, where he shot 6 of 6 from behind the three-point line, a testament to his massively improved shooting stroke this season that had become so reliable. The freak of nature had now become something even deadlier, a marksman, shooting 40% from three on the year, adding a whole new dimension to his already unstoppable game. The Miami Heat ended the season with the best record in the NBA, and it was all because they had the undisputed best player in the NBA. 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists per night while shooting 57% from the field and 41% from three. He was doing all of this while having the best defensive season of his career, finding himself in serious contention for the Defensive Player of the Year award. And that MVP award, it wasn't even in question. No player had ever put it all together like this. The control over both ends of the floor, the efficiency, and the way he made it look all so easy. With Bleacher Report saying the MVP wouldn't even be enough of an award for how dominant LeBron was. Maybe there needs to be some other trophy for players who blow away their peers by such a wide margin. This was the apex of a basketball genius, a masterclass stretched across the last 6 months, but there was still one thing left to do: finish the job, because the true measure of greatness resides in June. But in order to get there, Miami first has to run through everyone who comes in their path from April to May. The first unfortunate team dealt with the sentencing of elimination by Miami, the Milwaukee Bucks. But the Bucks aren't feeling unfortunate, as their leader Brandon Jennings was confident in pulling off the upset.
So we just gonna go out there and play basketball and win.
And win?
Yeah.
And how many games?
6. We're gonna win in 6.
But the Bucks in 6 prophecy was short-lived, very short-lived. The Heat took care of Milwaukee in just 4 games, a sweep, LeBron James with a hyper-efficient series from the field. However, Game 3 in this series brought some uncertainty to Miami's playoff hopes. Dwayne Wade struggled, shooting 1 of 12 that night, all because of some serious knee discomfort that had gone all the way back to March. The Miami Heat continued to evaluate and monitor these issues, as Wade didn't have any structural damage to the knee, but it was bruised up, something he'd opt to play through, though he did sit out of Game 4 to get some rest and at least try to recover before round 2. With Miami's next opponent going to 7 games in round 1, Wade would get more than a week worth of rest. It would be needed ahead of facing this rough, physical Chicago Bulls team. And ahead of Game 1, what the entire league already knew was coming finally arrived: LeBron's 4th MVP trophy. He now joined Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Michael Jordan as the only players in NBA history with 4 MVPs. And he almost made his own exclusive list, finishing a single vote shy of being the first unanimous MVP award winner in NBA history. Gary Washburn, a writer for the Boston Globe, was the only voter who didn't have LeBron in first place, as he instead gave his vote not to Kevin Durant, but Carmelo Anthony. LeBron also finished second in Defensive Player of the Year, voting to Marc Gasol. He had put together truly one of the greatest seasons we'd ever seen by a player.
Right now, I would say LeBron James feels about 1/1,000,000th of the pressure he felt 1 year ago today. And God bless him for that, because now we get to see all of LeBron.
He's the total package as an NBA player. I often say, he's the best player on the planet.
Ahead of Game 1, LeBron was met with celebration in Miami, holding that 4th league MVP trophy high so everyone could see it. But the MVP of this game tonight was an unlikely one. The 5'9" Nate Robinson was giving the Miami Heat the work. He delivered in the clutch and helped the Chicago Bulls pull off the upset to begin this series. Ahead of Game 2, a lot was being said about the defense of Jimmy Butler on LeBron James in the previous game.
People say, oh, you shut down LeBron, you stopped LeBron. No, I didn't. And if anything, it was me plus 4 other guys that I have behind me.
Defending LeBron was always a team effort. No one man could do it alone. And in the first quarter of Game 2, he showed exactly why. A perfect quarter of basketball to silence the noise. Tom Thibodeau would have to make an adjustment.
Got to give the appropriate help.
Where would that come from?
The whole team.
Tibbs responded in the only way he knew how: throw everything at LeBron James. But as one of the best playmakers ever, LeBron had his own response to that. LeBron can beat you in so many ways, and he did just that to even up the series. But that game also had its fair share of chaos. Technical fouls, ejections, things were getting heated. Headed to the United Center in Chicago, it was only expected to rise in tension, and it did.
And Muhammad fouls LeBron James, and then a technical foul on James, and Muhammad, for some reason, shoves James.
A 270-pound man falling like this is crazy, but whatever you have to do to draw an ejection.
And if LeBron James does not fall on that, Nazi Muhammad is not ejected.
The Chicago crowd was already hostile towards LeBron and the Heat, and this play was only going to make it worse. But LeBron James had learned to thrive off the negativity. He came up clutch and delivered some big baskets on the road with everyone in the arena booing him, and he let the United Center hear it right back. In Game 4, everything that could go wrong for the Chicago Bulls did go wrong. They couldn't buy a bucket, and Miami got quite literally anything they wanted. A blowout win to take a commanding lead in the series, but it wasn't all good news for Miami. Again, Dwayne Wade aggravated his knee, and he was in serious pain as he tried to fight through this game. He shot 3 for 10 and scored just 6 points, and for the series, he was averaging only 13 points per game. Clearly, something was wrong. His health had become a very serious concern, making his availability in a potential closeout matchup a game-time decision. And D-Wade was not letting the discomfort keep him out of this one. Not only did he play, but he played his best game of the series, scoring a timely 18 points with some big late contributions. Pair that with 23 points from LeBron, and the Miami Heat had advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. 4 wins away from another finals appearance, Miami's last obstacle was the Indiana Pacers, a team led by 22-year-old Paul George, an emerging star. Ahead of Game 1, it was reported that the Pacers coach Frank Vogel said the Miami Heat were just another team in their way. LeBron took offense to this. "We don't need bulletin board material. We've heard everything, we've seen everything, but we're not just another team." Though in Game 1, the Pacers were defending their coach's statement. They looked like they belonged in this series with the defending champions. LeBron James had to turn up in the second half to make sure that Miami wouldn't fall behind, eventually taking the lead over Indiana late. But this team and Paul George just wouldn't go away.
George fires for the tie. He's got it!
Overtime basketball in Game 1, which was highly competitive, going back and forth. The Pacers had a 1-point advantage with just seconds to go, and the whole world knew who this ball was going to on Miami's final possession.
Battier gets it in. Here's James on the drive.
A 30-point triple-double by LeBron in the game winner. But Indiana had shown that they meant business. And in Game 2, they meant business even more, highlighted by Paul George.
Here comes George, got the step and stuffs one move. He beat LeBron James with that quick step. A sensational move by Paul George.
The world was beginning to notice that this kid was special. Even LeBron had to notice, as the Pacers took Game 2 and home court advantage in the series. Which really meant something to the Pacers, as this team hadn't lost a game at home for their entire playoff run so far. If that continued to hold true, they would be on their way to a 3-1 lead in the series. But that's not what happened. The Heat won in a blowout to take Game 3 before the Pacers made it even in Game 4. This game was absolutely pivotal. If Miami fell at home, they would certainly be on the verge of elimination heading to Indiana for Game 6. And they found themselves in trouble. The Pacers leading by halftime, LeBron trying anything to fire his team up. But as he knew well, the best way to lead was by example, which he did by completely taking over in the third quarter. No matter what Indiana did, they couldn't stop this demon, as he scored more points by himself in that 12-minute period than every other Pacer combined, while also adding 4 assists. And just like that, Miami had the game swing back in their favor, and they never looked back. This Game 5 performance by LeBron was as clutch as it gets. After the game, LeBron said that he went back to his Cleveland days and took it upon himself. Udonis Haslem said that LeBron had that certain look in his eyes, and Eric Spoelstra praised LeBron for doing literally everything out there on the court. The Heat had a chance to close this tough team out on the road in Game 6, but the contributions simply weren't there for Miami. James had 29, but Wade and Bosh combined for just 15 points on 4 of 19 shooting. The Indiana Pacers forcing Game 7 for a winner-takes-all here in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Miami Heat just had to be concerned heading into this one, as the Big Three was not delivering in this series. LeBron James was doing his job, 28, 7, and 5, shooting 52%, but Bosh was putting up just 11 points per game on 41% shooting, while Wade was producing 14 a game on 44% shooting, still struggling with his right knee issues. He was playing through serious pain, and he even considered asking for limited minutes in the pending Game 7. In order to even play in this game, he had to have his knee drained of fluids, and he needed 8 hours of game day therapy. With a spot in the NBA Finals on the line, Wade was committed to it. Miami needed a big game from their stars, and the two of them delivered.
Oh, beautiful move by Wade. Next number 3 on the drive. The hole by James. All picked off by Wade. Here's Wade to the rim. Here's Cole for the alley-oop. Number 5. Wade with the runner. John Mahoney comes back in. Wade to the drive.
The Miami Heat dominated the Indiana Pacers in Game 7. LeBron with 32, Wade with 21. The Miami Heat are back in the NBA Finals once again. Miami had survived the East after being on the edge of elimination, but now came their final test. A dynasty, a machine, a team with 4 banners hanging in their arena, all won by the same core. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, they were more than a trio, they were a standard of excellence, coached by maybe the greatest to ever do it. This wasn't the first time LeBron was facing this team for the biggest trophy in basketball. 6 years ago, he was swept on his home floor to lose the NBA championship. That memory at the top of his mind heading into Game 1, which was a back and forth battle the entire way through. The 2 best teams in basketball battling it out. These first 48 minutes did nothing but prove this was going to be a special series. But in the game's dying moments, the road team was clutch.
Parker with 2 to shoot. Just gets it off in time, and he banks it in!
The Finals MVP of 2007 with the dagger. LeBron James with a quiet triple-double in the loss. One thing Miami certainly couldn't do was go down 2-0 in this series, as San Antonio was going for the kill. But over the first half of Game 2, Miami found themselves in a similar spot, barely leading at halftime. LeBron was having a rough first half, shooting 2 for 7 from the field with just 4 points. They had to put this game away, and in order to do that, LeBron had to wake up in the second half. He would do exactly that, not just offensively, but certainly on defense. LeBron protected the rim with one of the most emphatic blocks in the history of the NBA Finals. Miami's run of momentum only continued.
James, the pass, Ray Allen, bang! Stolen by James, Miller ahead, here it goes, down!
A huge response in Miami to even up the series. For the entire playoff run, the San Antonio Spurs had only dropped 1 game here at the AT&T Center. They had been a force that Miami never stood a chance against in Game 3. The Spurs were lights out from 3, hitting 16 of their 32 attempts, 13 of those makes coming from Danny Green and Gary Neal, who couldn't miss. San Antonio won this game by 36 points, a crushing, demoralizing defeat for Miami. One where LeBron scored 15 points on 21 shot attempts. He was now in the midst of having a miserable series after such a great year. This is how it was ending. But knowing that a 3-1 deficit in the NBA Finals would be a death sentence, LeBron James came out aggressive in Game 4. He was attacking at every opportunity he got. It was like the beast that was LeBron James had finally been awakened. But it wasn't at all a sole effort for Miami, as Dwayne Wade was having himself an incredible game. The knee issues he had been battling had affected him all postseason. He could have opted not to play through this pain, but he refused not to be there for his team. He wanted this NBA title. The Big Three had their best performance of the postseason in a must-win game. Into Game 5, the Miami Heat knew that this meant everything for the series, as the history had shown the winner of Game 5 had a 74% chance of winning the series. But they got torched by the San Antonio Spurs starters, who scored 107 points between the 5 alone. That was more than the Miami Heat had as a team. Once again, they had been blown out in this series, and once again, LeBron had a rough shooting night despite his 25 points. Down 3-2 in the series, the Heat were in must-win mode headed back to Miami, and LeBron James, who was in the midst of a poor series for his standards, saw his legacy on the line heading into this must-win game.
Welcome to Game 6, season on the line for the Miami Heat.
Over the last 2 years, LeBron had been unstoppable in these must-win scenarios. Miami would need that same LeBron James tonight. But through the first 24 minutes, LeBron wasn't showing up at all. He was struggling offensively for yet another game in the series, while Tim Duncan was having one of the best halves of his career. But it wasn't just LeBron struggling for Miami. The entire Big Three had disappeared in the first half, and somehow they still only found themselves down by 6 points in a winnable game. But as the third quarter came along, it got even worse for the Heat. Still, LeBron was unable to get anything going, and the Spurs added 4 more points to their lead heading into the fourth.
LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, desperate to keep their season alive and force a Game 7. They're down by 10 as we head to the fourth.
With 12 minutes left in the game, LeBron had his legacy on the line, and he didn't let the pressure shake him, it only sharpened him. The winner effect was in full force.
James to the basket and the finish. Mike Miller has only 1 sneaker on. Miller, bang! 6 to shoot. Chalmers behind the James and the flush. Chalmers in the paint. Off balance, wild shot thrown down by LeBron James.
LeBron was out there playing without his headband now. Things have gotten serious.
Back out Green. Green off the dribble, drives inside to Duncan, blocked by James. James on the drive, leans in, banks it in, tie game.
LeBron's fourth quarter performance had been nothing short of heroic, but big shots by Tony Parker late in this fourth quarter put the Spurs right back in front. The Spurs now led by 5 with under 30 seconds left, and Miami desperately needed to cut down the lead.
Back out to James, another three. It's good. James knocks it down.
Miami had to play the foul game now, and on the other end, Kawhi Leonard made 1 of 2 free throws. The Heat had a chance to do the unthinkable.
Rebound Bosh. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
An unbelievable ending to this game in regulation. LeBron with 16 points in the fourth quarter, and Ray Allen with one of the wildest shots in the history of the league had completed the ultimate turnaround for Miami. A 5-minute overtime period that would give them extra life. Both teams looked completely exhausted in overtime. The Spurs looking to secure their 5th NBA championship in franchise history, and the Miami Heat looking to live to see another day. And behind some huge defensive plays by the Heat, it was them living to see another day.
Blocked by Bosh. Game over. There'll be a Game 7. And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Game 7 of the NBA Finals. It's only fitting that these two teams, the two very best in the NBA, after battling for 6 games, have it come down to one final game to decide who will be the NBA champion.
The entire season had come down to this final moment, a moment that would be seized by the man who has solidified himself as the best basketball player in the world.
James and a foul! James will try another three. Puts it in. Yeah, look how far up they're playing. He'll try it again. It's good! LeBron James making the Spurs pay. James puts it up, knocks it down.
LeBron was completely dismantling the Spurs, and he had a chance to deliver a dagger in this one.
James pulls up, puts it in. 35 for LeBron James. What a finish. It's back-to-back titles for the Heat. The 2013 NBA championship resides once again in Miami.
It was once in question, but LeBron James had a response every step of the way, capping off his legendary season in the most legendary of ways. He won the MVP near unanimously. He was arguably the best defender in the NBA, and he won the NBA championship for the 2nd time while also collecting that Finals MVP. But for all the numbers, the highlights, and trophies, what made this season special wasn't just the success, it was the control, the calmness, and the completeness of it all. It was LeBron James at peace with his greatness and unleashing it without limits.
For me, I can't worry about what everybody say about me. I'm LeBron James from Akron, Ohio, from the inner city. I'm not even supposed to be here. That's enough. Every night I walk into the locker room, I see a number 6 with James on the back. I'm blessed. So what everybody say about me off the court don't matter. I ain't got no worries.